our writers have a passion to sort of immortalize the place of birth or the country of birth. And nothing is wrong with that, right? It enriches our lives. Welcome to another episode of Oral Tradition and another adventure in Guyanese literature. Also, let's welcome someone from the tiny island of Legwan, now living out of Canada, Rosetta Khalideen, Doctor, Professor, Educator. Rosetta, welcome to the program Oral Tradition.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You mentioned some names, um, which brings me to ask you about your formative days in Guyana and about the the literary scene at that time.
Um, my days of writing go back a long, long way. I started writing poetry when I was in common entrance
Ooh,
class. I was only 12 years old. Um, I was dabbling in poetry that talks about nature, more specifically. And then I started looking at poems that had to do with culture and the social fabric in Guyana. I had written a couple of poems for Guyfesta, and I got some awards for those poems. And then by chance, I ran into Ruplal Manar, and he was very much into writing about traditions in Guyana.
yeah, yeah.
And so when I connected with him, he also introduced me to some other writers who were in the same tradition as he was. And so there was Lakshmi Kalicharan,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was Mahadev Das,
Wow.
there was Kamta Karan,
Ooh,
and Churmani Bisundial.
yeah. Who incidentally was from Leguan.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So I joined this group of writers, and um, we were always working on some kind of piece, correcting each other's work, sharing your thoughts,
Mm,
sharing your ideas.
mm-hmm.
And they were so very, very supportive to each other. And they gave me the encouragement to continue to write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how my writing basically started
All right. And led to publications.
and led to publications.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a small collection of poems called Legwan.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a number of short stories, which were published in the Guyana Sunday Chronicle. I used to write almost every week, and when there was no story, I would have people sending me messages to say, "Oh, why there's no story from you this week?
Wow.
We're waiting expectantly."
Yeah, incredible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Incredible. I like that. All right. Um, let's talk about another thing from your formative days, Guyfesta, which I think was a
yeah,
kind of forerunner to Carifesta.
yeah, yeah. So one of the chief organizers of Guyfesta was A.J. Seymour.
Mm.
And when I sent in I think I sent in about four poems in 1975, and he was very, very complimentary of my writing. I actually went to meet with him one day at his home. I think he was living in North Road,
Yes, yeah, for quite a
and
long
he
time.
so encouraged me.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, right. Your actual involvement in Guyfesta,
Hmm.
what was that like?
I I was only involved in my submissions.
Ah,
So there was like a competition, and you were asked to submit your works. So I submitted my poems,
okay.
and I heard from A.J. Moore, and he said to me, "I really like your writing." And then I received, I think, three certificates of excellence because they were giving out those certificates
For participation.
to people who they thought were good writers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a good writer. Congrats.
Uh, I don't know.
You know, I started by saying some writers like to immortalize their place of birth. It brings to mind Sheikh Siddiq, all right, which is from
Yeah.
Sheikh Siddiq, Chirmani, we mentioned before, Chingapen, um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, um, and a few, Kanai, you mentioned Kanai, Cyril,
Cyril.
that's
Yeah.
right, this beautiful land, and quite a few others have sort of immortalized Guyana and the exact place or location. Like in Chingapen saying Albion Wilds, you know, and
Uh-huh.
yourself about Leguan, um, Makot Lawrence, or beautiful Guyana, you know. And so Cleveland Hamilton, and quite a few persons have done it. All right, which is good. I mean, it enriched our life, the patriotic feeling that we have inside. Now that we talk so much about immortalizing your place, can we hear something about Leg One, a poem?
Okay. I don't have my actual collection here with me, but I do have two of my poems.
Okay,
So I'm gonna read one of them.
I just
So
sent you. I just sent you two that I found in this.
Independence Then.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'll read one of them
please.
from Independence Then.
Uh,
Um, my beautiful Essequibo Isle, what shall I do without thee? When shall I walk again with thy mighty trades pushing through the coconut palms, with thy chocolate colored waters foaming and bubbling on the shore? When shall I behold thy corner, turning the sky to purple and pink? When shall I more see thy flowers blooming in the sun? The sweet scent of thy earth shall never more assail my nostrils. I shall never again sit on thy golden sands, watching the schooners lifting with the swell. Oh, beautiful Essequibo Isle, how I'll miss thee, miss the things I so dearly love. Thy golden rice stalks waving in the breeze, the tall corridor trees lining thy beautiful shore, thy sparrows nesting in the bamboo trees, thy fluffy clouds sailing across the sky. Dearest Essequibo Isle, thou art mine. more.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I wanted to say why I wrote that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I wrote that when I was about to be married to my husband who comes from Berbice.
East Kanji.
So I was leaving Legon to go all the way to Berbice. And I felt this nostalgia that I had to put my feelings into words.
Wow, that's a story. Now, talking about stories, you're also a short story writer. All right,
Yeah.
and I saw some titles here, and there are a few that looks like romance stories, like uh, Once Bitten, A Matter of Fate, Sweet Lily, Waiting for Vance. Talk about your short stories.
People sometimes ask me when I write, am I writing about myself? But I write about things that I see. I write about things that are happening around me. And sometimes the stories I write about are stories that have been told to me.
Yeah,
So the stories that I have written, they come from situations that I was able to see, or situations in which I was involved, but they are not necessarily about me. And so things were happening around me, and maybe they struck a chord in me. And because of that, I said, this is something I need to write about. And so those stories were born.
oh, lovely, lovely. Now we're gonna move from your poetry, short story, and to your new novel, Time and the
Oh,
River.
yes.
Congratulations on your new novel. Let's talk about it. You sent me a synopsis, but you tell us about this romance fiction.
Yeah, I'm so proud about it.
Raise it up. Let me see it again. Yeah. Yep. I'm seeing it on the screen. Great.
Yeah. Um, s- so the synopsis of the story is, there are these two characters, a girl and a boy, who fell in love during their teenage years. But because of cultural traditions, and you know how that goes in Guyana, your parents need to choose, if you're a girl, your parents need to choose your life partner. And it has to be somebody who's in keeping with your social and maybe your financial status in life. So these two people, the parents, her parents were not really supportive of the relationship, and so they were meeting each other in secret. But then it so happened that the fellow who was a teacher, he went away to teachers college, and there he got himself involved with another girl, and she became pregnant. So the two of them broke up, and her life took a different path. She went on her way. He went on his way. She got married to somebody else, and he got married to the girl whom he made pregnant. But then 40 years later,
Wow.
they met again,